Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castros.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views.
And here are today's headlines.
The Sandigan Bayan has declared former lawmaker Zaldy Co and 3 others as fugitives from justice in connection with the flood control scandal.
A prosecutor says the early surrender of Sara Discaya could reduce her penalty if she is eventually found guilty.
The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee has started investigating the alleged misuse of letters of authority by BIR officials.
Filipino athletes continue to rack up medals at the 33rd Southeast Asian Games in Thailand.
First in the news, former Ako Bicol Representative Zaldy Co has officially been declared a fugitive from justice. The Sandigan Bayan says Co has been deliberately evading prosecution in connection with alleged anomalous flood control projects, prompting the court to order the cancellation of his passport. Here's the report.
Where is Zaldy Co? That question has lingered for months with still no confirmation of his whereabouts. Former lawmaker Zaldy Co has not returned to the Philippines since July, when he reportedly traveled abroad for a medical checkup, months before he was charged with graft and malversation over the alleged anomalous flood control project in Oriental Mindoro. What is certain now is that he is officially a fugitive. The Sandigan Bayan 5th Division has declared Co a fugitive from justice, saying evidence shows he has been deliberately avoiding prosecution. The court also ordered the Department of Foreign Affairs to immediately cancel Co's passport. According to the Sandigan Bayan, there is sufficient proof that Co knows exactly what he is facing. Among the court's bases, his refusal to comply with the House order directing him to return to the country after his travel clearance was revoked. Instead of coming home, Co resigned from his position as a Bicol party list representative. The court added that Co ignored subpoenas, failed to submit any counter affidavit, and through his lawyer, insisted he would only return if his safety could be guaranteed or if he would be granted house arrest or bail. The court said these conditions clearly signal an attempt to evade justice. Because he is now a fugitive, Co cannot seek any favor or protection from the court unless he surrenders. This also bars him from filing motions through counsel to dismiss the case or request a temporary restraining order. The DILG earlier said Co may be in Portugal. President Bongbong Marcos has already directed the DFA and the PNP to coordinate with embassies to locate Co. Beyond Co, the passports of 3 SunWest officials, contractors of the questioned flood control projects, have also been cancelled, and they too have been declared fugitives. The Sandigan Bayan 5th Division likewise denied the prosecution's request to consolidate the graft and malversation cases against Co, DPWH officials, and SunWest executives, saying doing so would only slow down the proceedings. The court also noted that a fugitive is not allowed to ask for such relief in the first place.
Now, the camp of Sara and Curly Discaya maintains that the couple has no intention of avoiding their day in court over cases linked to the flood control scandal. Here is the report.
Sara Discaya is now on her 4th day in the custody of the National Bureau of Investigation. According to their spokesperson, Attorney Cornelio Samaniego, Discaya remains concerned about the welfare of her children, all 4 of whom have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD.
Ang ginawa nila ngayon, nag-voluntary surrender na lang sila. Kasi ayaw nila yung nangyayari ng mga nakaraan. Nakita nyo naman na yung mga ibang involved, talagang naharas talaga.
She surrendered to the NBI last Tuesday ahead of the issuance of an arrest warrant over her alleged involvement in the controversial flood control project in Davao Occidental.
Hindi rin alam namin kung narapol na yung criminal information na ifinail ng ombudsman sa Davao Occidental. So until now, nag-aantay rin po kami kung saan narapol po, kung saan RTC.
Threats against the Discaya couple reportedly continue.
Gwardyado talaga si ma'am kasi hindi naman natin in-expect kasi na hindi natin alam kung totoo o hindi. Pero mas maganda na yung nakakasiguro.
Meanwhile, on December 7, 8 DPWH Davao Occidental officials also voluntarily turned themselves into the NBI. They are linked to the 96.5 million pesos ghost infrastructure project, which was awarded to St. Timothy Construction owned by the Discaya family. They are expected to face any questions regarding the controversial flood control scandal. Rainiel Pawid, We Are One News.
Joining us now is Integrated Bar of the Philippines President, Attorney Alan Panolong. Good morning, Attorney. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Attorney.
Hello, good morning.
Good
morning, everyone.
All right, Attorney, let's get right to it now. We're talking about yung Sara Discaya and of course yung mitigating circumstances ng pag-surrender daw niya na maaga. Will this help her in case she gets a guilty verdict, assuming na ayaw rin niya, hindi rin siya papayag sa restitution na pagsoli ng pera?
That is actually up for the court to consider
Right.
because a voluntary surrender is under the law may be appreciated as a mitigating circumstance. But then again, if you look at the cases being filed against her, it looks like there was no bail recommended by the prosecution.
Right.
So meaning to say, the charges are really that serious.
Pero from a legal standpoint po, Attorney, ano po ba yung parang basis ng kanyang ginawa dito? Parang, ano ba? Kasi iba sinasabi nila, baka gusto niya ng mas ma-reduce yung kanyang penalty. Is that even possible?
Again, as I said, it is up for the court to appreciate because if you notice, the cases, the information are filed before the regional trial court. So, if the court finds kasi may condition number one, the surrender must be voluntary, which it appears voluntary nga kasi she surrendered before the
Yes.
National Bureau of Investigation, which is an agency of government, and that it's a clear manifestation of her willingness to participate in the prosecution of the case against her. Yeah.
Pero ngayon po, nasa kustodiya siya technically ng NBI. Pero let's say for example, gusto niyang umalis. Pwede yon kasi wala pa naman siyang warrant of arrest at saka hindi naman siya hinuli ng NBI. Tama po?
Yes. Actually, wala pa namang kasi I've been closely following also this issue, and the court has not yet issued an arrest warrant. So, in the absence of a arrest warrant, so she can freely move from the detention facility in the NBI. Wala namang pong prohibition yan.
Attorney, baka help us and our viewers understand yung case na kinakaharap ni Sara Discaya. What are ano yung parusa na pwede ipataw sa kanya in case a guilty verdict is rendered?
Yes, under the Sara Discaya and other government officials were charged with malversation of public funds in conspiracy. There was a conspiracy to malverse public funds. So, unang-una, the primary, they are all principals in this case, in these cases. So, based on the law under revised penal code as amended on the malversation of public funds, kapag 8 million above po yung amount na public funds na ginamit po na walang basihan at walang pahintulot, or the public officers allowed someone to use it also, the penalty is if I'm not mistaken, reclusion perpetual, which is in the scale of penalties, it ranges from 20 years to 40 years imprisonment. So yun po ang penalty niyo. Na meron pang other charges na kasama dito.
Yes,
yun. RA 3019, which is a violation of the anti-graft law. So co-conspirator din sila. So meaning to say, since the company of Sara Discaya was the one who received benefit from DPWH, and there was this allegation that there was kickback given to the officials. So big sabihin, they defrauded the government. Meaning to say, the government in this case caused damage as a result the release of the non-implementation of the project. Kasi
Yes,
ghost flood control project po to eh. So yun po yun.
Given attorney yung bigat ng kaso na kinakaharap niya and principal pa siya, anytime ba do you think may opportunity pa si Sara Discaya to turn witness in case na maisipan niya gusto niya maging state witness and tumulong na lang sa gobyerno?
Well, that is really up for the Office of the Ombudsman, who is now the office or agency prosecuting the case. Oo. So, if on the basis of the circumstances, si Sara Discaya, no, is qualified to be a qualification. If you recall, previous days there was discussion about the restitution.
Yes.
The voluntary act on her part to return what she has received, what money or funds that she received from government. So, isa yun sa mga conditions. So, it's really up for the ombudsman because if the testimony of Sara is very essential such that they can get conviction of the co-accused in this case, then they may admit her as a state witness.
Yun nga po, no, paulit-ulit nyo rin po na babanggit kanina, it's the court who will decide and ombudsman also doon sa mga mitigating factors. And I was wondering nga po kasi, talagang iniisip ko ano yung mga parang nasa isipan ng o advice ng kanyang legal counsel on surrendering sa NBI ahead of the arrest warrant. So I was wondering, attorney, could surrendering be part of negotiation, let's say for a protective custody, plea bargaining agreement? I don't know. Could you tell us what you're...
It gives actually so many opportunities for Miss Sara Discaya.
Right.
Kaya lang, if you recall, medyo napagod yung DOJ sa kakausap sa kanila eh. So, parang yung bola nasa kanya na, binitawan pa niya.
Right.
So having said that, medyo hindi maganda yung relationship nila with the DOJ. Kasi I have to make myself corrected, by the way, that it's the DOJ which is tasked with admitting a witness to be a state witness, no? So they can recommend.
Well,
Sila kasi implementing arm nung sa state witness. Yes. So it gives her another round of opportunity for her to cooperate in the prosecution of
kumbaga parang...
such she can also demand for some consensus. Ano bang pwedeng ibigay niyo sa akin na pwede bang ganon? So these are the things that the legal team of Sara may consider.
So kumbaga, attorney, ang ibig mong sabihin nung time na parang 'di ba nasa kanila yung bola, nilaglag nila, ngayon yung surrendering niya could be a statement na willing kaming hawakan ulit yung bola at makipagtrabaho sa inyo.
It could be. It could be a possibility.
Pero once po magkaroon na po mailabas yung arrest warrant and she's still in the NBI custody, madali naman po siya maibigay ng NBI, no, sa police, no? Ano po mangyayari doon?
There will be an easy transfer of custody over her person, because the NBI is a law enforcement agency of our government, and it has a very good working relationship with the PNP. Madali lang nila may surrender si Sara.
Yan, attorney, I'm sure you've been following all the hearings in this case closely, no? Also, pa sinasabi ng iba, parang very similar ang weight ng evidence between Sara and Curly. Well, Curly is still at the detention center of the Senate. Do you think he can have the same cases filed against him once the Senate releases him? Kasi parang hindi pa gumagalaw yung kaso sa kanya eh.
It depends on their participation on the cases being filed against them. As it appears, hindi ko kalagay yung information or yung complaint affidavit, but since si Sara Discaya lang yung finailan, maybe because in the articles of incorporation or in the board of officers of the company, no, involved in the Davao Ghost Flood Control Project, maybe the officers lang doon is si Sara Discaya and that Miss Remando. So that is why silang dalawa yung pinailan ng kaso. Kasi kung si Curly Discaya was also an officer of that company, So masasama siya doon. Kasi titingnan kasi yung participation nila eh. Hindi porket mag-asawa naman sila,
Parehas yung,
presume
ano,
naman na,
yung gravity
oo.
ng kaso.
So,
Parang ganun.
the prosecution will go on paper trails looking at the extent of their participation in the transaction.
Oh, so there's a possibility na kunyari kung sinasabi nga nito na si Sara Discaya yung operations head nung kanilang firm, siya yung mas mabigat yung ano kasi alam niya yung ins and out of the operation of their firm as compared to the husband.
Yes, say for instance, she was the one who made representation before the DPWH such that during the bidding, she was even the one who represented the company, and on the company, on the organizational structure of the company, she's the president and CEO, and she was the one even who received the money. So talagang apply the doctrine of corporate bill, no, under our corporation, talagang siya yung double doon.
Well, on the other hand, could you also say na itong pag-surrender niya sa NBI ahead of the arrest warrant is kumukuha ng simpatya ng publiko?
Maybe. Maybe. But alam niyo, sir, as I said, wala yung there was this big opportunity. They were, when the DOJ was actually negotiating with them. So when they were out, the DOJ was talking to them. So nung apparently hindi sila nagkasundo, so napakalaking dagok yun sa Oo.
I'd like to ask lang kasi just to understand it a little bit more, paano yung mga minor shareholders nitong corporation nito na kasama sa Davao? Ano yung liability nila as compared sa mga major stockholders? Tsaka yung Sara Discaya mismo, alam naman natin, siya yung nag-ooperate. Pero may impact din ba to sa mga minor shareholders?
Well, based on, as I said, depending on the extent of their participation. So if it is proven that they have no active or they have no direct or indirect participation in the commission of the crime, then they won't be held liable as such, no? Compared to Sara Discaya, who is apparently the face of that company.
Pero assuming...
So,
okay. Go ahead, attorney. Go ahead.
Yes, kasi gano'n naman po usually a corporation, it has its own set of officers. So
Yes.
the ones representing the company, usually these are the officers who hold high stake in the company. So normally they are the ones. Kasi naman yung mga minority stockholders naman, wala naman pakialam minsan yun eh.
Totoo. Minsan,
Minsan
name lang eh, no?
Wala na, nale-left out ka minsan sa mga nangyayari sa kwan eh.
Pero
sa corporation eh.
That's right.
Pero attorney, paano yung mga officers na wala namang kinalaman sa operations pero meron silang knowledge na may nangyayaring kalokohan at hindi sila nag-report. Hinayaan nila na si Sara mag-continue sa pinagagawa niya.
Well, that is more on evidentiary matter.
Yes.
So, kailangan merong mga proof other than the fact that they have knowledge. No?
Well, speaking
So, kailangan. May mga overt acts, meaning to say, for instance, no, kahit minority stockholder siya, kasama siya doon, sumasama doon sa bidding. Tapos, kasama pa siyang nag-receive ng pera. No? And, meron siyang other function other than being a minority stockholder in the company, such that kasama siya doon sa operation. So, malamang pwede siyang ma-indict as an accused.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the evidentiary process, I was talking to the spokesperson of the Discaya, si Attorney Samaniego, and kasi ni-reiterate niya na hindi daw ghost projects yung nandoon sa Davao Oriental. There were structures, nasira ng bagyo, etc. And sabi ko sa kanya, but yung mga nakalagay daw doon, sabi ng prosecutor, yung mga documents that they sent or they submitted, mga reports, etc., those are fake daw or kulang pa ng mga information. So at this point, ang defense naman nung kanyang spokesperson, ay wala yan, hindi pa naman nila napapatunayan na peke nga yung binigay namin na papeles, etc. So at this point, in this level of the case, tama po ba siya no, na hindi pa naman talaga napapatunayan na peke yung mga papeles na binigay sa sa prosecution? O nakuha ng prosecution?
Elisa, I was able to watch the press con of Miko Clapano, the assistant ombudsman, who made it clear that based on records, the project never happened.
Yes.
No, it never happened, and they received the funds for it. Secondly, when the issue on this ghost flood control came out, biglang nagkaroon ng civil works doon sa area.
Oo, biglang kukumpuni sila.
Ngayon. And this is on the basis of the findings of the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group of the PNP,
True.
which is one of the evidence being adduced by the ombudsman for purposes of filing the cases against Ms. Sara Discaya and other government officials. So, factually, no? So, it is the job of the prosecution to prove that the project really never happened, no? It did not undertake, no? Which is on the basis of the records, according to Miko Clapano, the assistant ombudsman, is mga falsified yung mga documents na sinubmit to make it appear that the project actually took place. But in truth and in fact, according to assistant ombudsman Clapano, nung pumutok yung issue about flood control, saka nagkaroon ng doon, ng parang trabaho doon sa area where the supposed flood control project would have been implemented.
Well, I remember even the DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon went there and said na talagang walang structure doon, pero ginigiit, of course, nung kabilang panig, it is also understandable that they would defend themselves na meron, na nasira lang, at hindi daw yun yung part ng inspection, etc. But we'll see doon sa kalalarga nung kanilang kaso, no. Ngayon po kasi, attorney, yung kanyang asawa ay nasa detention center ng Senate. And kung let's say for example, kasi mukhang mag-wrap up na rin ang Senate doon sa kanilang mga Blue Ribbon Committee because there are cases filed already. Pagkatapos pwede na nila mapakawalan si Curly Discaya because he is held on contempt basis. Pagka ganun, until wala pa yung arrest warrant, he is free.
Yeah, wala namang pan eh. So there is no prohibition. And until the Senate decides to release him, so they can do that. They have that power under the Constitution. They have that contempt power. So when the moment a warrant of arrest is issued by a court of competent jurisdiction, meaning to say it could be the regional trial court or the Sandigan Bayan, as the case may be, no? Kasi usually sa Sandigan Bayan ang fina-file ng mga cases doon, those government officials holding position with salary grade above 27. So 27 and above. So kaya nga itong sa Sara Discaya pinail doon sa sa regional trial court.
Right.
Kasi I think walang officers ata na involved doon na occupying a position na which carries a salary grade of 27 and above.
Pero para ano pa kasi to, attorney yung dun kila Sara Discaya, sa Davao pa lang ito, Davao Occidental, they have a lot of contracts in different areas.
Yes, diba? That's what I wanted to ask, attorney, no? Kasi itong mga cases ng mga Discaya na nauna, kinakinasuhan sa kanila are ghost projects sa flood control. Pero meron din silang mga cases na substandard. How harder is it, attorney, to prove or for the substandard cases to go forward as compared to ghost projects?
Oh yeah, the ghost projects is much easier to prove in court because the only thing that the prosecution has to provide is that they have to produce documents and object evidence, pictures probably, no, and testimonies from credible persons. For instance, yung mga barangay officials doon or even the city officials or municipal officials who can provide information. So, with respect to a substandard, it needs an expert witness probably from the DPWH themselves.
Right.
Because they are the ones that are determining, they can determine if a work is poorly done or a work is not in accordance with the terms of reference. Kasi yung bidding po niyan, sa mga government projects, especially on infrastructure, they have that so-called terms of reference, no?
Yes.
Which enumerates other things, kung ano yung project na i-undertake. So if the specifications are not met, so definitely it could give rise to a impression that it was poorly done. So hence, it is substandard. But then again, it is quite difficult to prove because you need the experts. So that
eksperto.
kailangan mo ng experts. Yeah. And kung lalo na kung matagal na yung proyekto. Kasi we acknowledge that even if it's an infrastructure project, syempre may wear and tear yan.
Yes, that's true.
So if the project was made 10 or 15 years ago, especially kung maraming bagyo, maraming calamities, among other things. So,
medyo mahirap-hirap yun, no? You have a point there.
Pwede maka-apekto sa kan. But if it's really done in accordance with the terms of reference, pwedeng minor lang yung masustain ng mga na damage doon. But if poorly done, nako, marami akong napanood sa TV na kung saan yung flood control project parang halo sa loob
Yes, wala talaga or
yun. I think it doesn't need
expert to prove na wala. Okay. Alright, you have a good point there. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras sa Integrated Bar of the Philippines President Attorney Alan Panolong. Magandang umaga po.
Maraming salamat din.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. A certain Ramil Madriaga, who claims to have worked under Vice President Sara Duterte, alleges that Duterte received campaign funds from POGO operators and drug syndicates. Here's the report.
Vice President Sara Duterte is once again being drawn into a new controversy. A man identifying himself as her former bagman, Ramil Madriaga, has surfaced, detailing a series of allegations in an affidavit. According to Madriaga, he worked for Duterte in 2018 when she was still the mayor of Davao City. He claims he was tasked with intelligence work involving politics, law, and counterintelligence, supposedly in preparation for her planned presidential run. Madriaga also alleged that he helped organize a support group in Sara Duterte is My President and that the funds used for the group came from POGO operators and drug dealers.
Minsan nag-uutos sa kanya kung saan kukunin yung pera, isang Chinese na kadikit ni Michael Yang. Kaya ang kutob niya, every time na may papakuhang pera or may iiwang pera, ang alam niya talaga, galing yun sa POGO kasi meron pa siyang pinagpipika pa ng pera somewhere sa Pampanga, na isang hotel daw sa loob ng isang subdivision, at nakikita niya ang mga Chinese na kausap at tinatawagan siya mismo ng Chinese na kausap, kaya alam niya talagang POGO money yun.
He further claimed that other pro-Duterte support groups received similar funding. Madriaga added that when Sara Duterte became vice president, he was instructed to form the Vice Presidential Security and Protection Group, or VP SPG. He said he personally introduced Colonel Dennis Nolasco, who is among those being investigated in connection with the confidential funds issue. Nolasco later tapped Colonel Raymond Dante La Chica, who is likewise linked to the probe. Madriaga claimed that in December 2022, La Chica handed him duffel bags containing up to 35 million pesos each, which he delivered to different individuals. One bag was allegedly meant for a mayor in Laguna. Another was delivered to a comedy bar in Quezon City where he saw OVP spokesperson Reynold Munsayak. A third bag was left inside the vehicle he drove to the office of the Ombudsman parking area.
May mga pagkakataon na mismo si VP Sara na nag-uutos na ihatid itong pera sa ganitong tao, sa ganitong location. May tatawag sa kanya, may magte-text kung saan niya iiwan, kung anong plaka ng kotse na tatabihan niya, kung saan location.
He also described what he called the largest money delivery, the transport of 1 billion pesos in cash inside the van in early 2020, which he said he delivered to Katarungan Village in Muntinlupa City. Madriaga claimed the transaction was later confirmed through a call from former President Rodrigo Duterte. Madriaga is currently detained at the BJMP in Taguig for a kidnapping case. His lawyer says he now fears for his safety after being visited multiple times by individuals he identified as connected to the Vice President.
Kinukuha yung mga details ng mga anak daw, addresses. So doon medyo natatakot siya, hindi niya hinaharap. At kaya napilitan na siyang talagang magpatulong para gumawa ng salaysay dahil nga natatakot na rin siya.
Meanwhile, in an interview with One News Storycon, Madriaga's lawyer, Attorney Palad, explained that Madriaga felt abandoned after Vice President Duterte did not assist him in a complaint filed by former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque.
Ang feeling niya, napabayaan siya, inabandona siya ng mga taong tinulungan niya. So alam mo yung galit ni Madriaga na ang dami kong ginawa sa inyo, mga confidential matters, pick up ng pera, delivery ng pera. Tapos nung dinemanda siya ng grupo ni Attorney Roque, hindi daw siya tinulungan ni VP Sara. Yun, masamang-masama talaga.
Okay.
Madriaga plans to file a complaint before the Office of the Ombudsman using the contents of his affidavit.
Lawmakers from the minority bloc are pushing back against the House leadership's newly filed anti-political dynasty bill. House Bill 6771, authored by current House leaders, including Majority Leader Sandro Marcos, bars relatives up to the 4th civil degree from holding certain elective posts at the same time. Now, this includes spouses, siblings, parents, and children, first cousins, aunts, uncles, and nieces and nephews. However, the restriction only applies when relatives run for positions within the same cluster or level of elective office, such as national, district, provincial, city, municipal, or barangay posts. If they run in different clusters, the ban does not apply. Some lawmakers warn that instead of prohibiting dynasties, the measure may actually legitimize them. Now, to discuss this further, we have Caloocan 2nd District Representative Egay Erice. Good morning, Kong. Thank you for joining us again.
Good morning, Angelo and Angela. Good morning.
Morning po.
Alright, Kong, very interesting yung sinabi nyo that itong version po ng political dynasty ay may actually legitimize the dynasties itself. Could you enlighten us?
Not only it will legitimize, pero unconstitutional.
Right.
Kasi if you will examine the intent of the framers of the Constitution, maliwanag naman doon na to prevent monopoly,
Yes.
to give equal access and opportunities to others. Ito talaga nakasentro para doon sa mga hindi makapangyarihang mga individuals na gustong magsilbi sa gobyerno pero napipigilan because of the influence of political dynasties. Doon sa pinasa na sinumite na bill ni Speaker Bojidi at Majority Leader Sandro Marcos, nung binasa ko, nung una akala ko 5 lang. Pero nung bandang uli, nakita ko may isang provision doon na for example, Cebu may 7 probinsya, qualified pa rin yung 7 kamag-anak para tumakbong mayor. So hindi lang 5, 7 mayor, isang governor, isang barangay captain sa bawat city, pagkatapos isang congressman, tapos isa pang presidente, senador o vice president. So it would be more than 10 actually. So it's not an anti-political dynasty but legitimizing political dynasties in the Philippines.
Parang it's a purpose lang no?
Kung parang let's say, bigyan natin ng example para mas maintindihan na ating mga kapatid doon. Let's say for example, ngayon, si Senator Peter Cayetano ay isang senador and at the same time yung asawa niya ay mayor ng Taguig. So in this bill, allowed pa rin yun. Pero ang hindi na allowed, ang di na allowed is yung, let's say for example ngayon, 2 Tulfo sa Senate, 2 Villar sa Senate, ganun po.
Yes.
Pero di ba
pero ang pinakamabigat dyan yung sa mga probinsya
Yes, true.
Example, bigyan natin ng example. Yung, for example, yung Masbate, governor is ko. Ang congressman, 3 ko. So, tapos mayor ko. Parang gano'n. Tapos pwede pa rin barangay captain ko. Ngayon, mababawasan lang yon. Mababawasan lang yon kung, for example, Masbate City Mayor, okay yon. Governor, okay yon. Barangay captain, okay yon. Isang congressman, okay yun. So magiging 4 sila.
Oo.
Magiging 4 sila.
Pero kung under the Constitution, yung mga basic definitions that we have right now, ano ba talaga ang dynasty? Talagang outright, dapat pag may isang ko, kahit ano pang position, bawal na.
Hindi. Kaya meron ako nag-file kasi ako last July.
Yes,
Actually, yung final ko na anti-political dynasty bill, na-file ko na yan for 5 congresses. Pero nung panahon ni Pinoy, nakapasa ito sa committee. Napag-aralan to ng mga legalist, napag-aralan to ng mga constitutionalist, napag-aralan ito ng mga local government officials, national government officials. Kaya nakapasa ito, kaya lang pagdating sa plenary, hindi na-archive Talagang mahirap kasi 70 to 80% of members of Congress are members of political dynasties. Talagang mahirap. Tapos na ipasa lang to dahil medyo nung una tinulungan ako ni Presidente Pinoy, pero siguro nung nasa plenary na talagang mahirap din dahil yung impluwensya ng mga political plans
Andun sa
lalo
Congress
na election na, di ba? Yun ang isang problema dito. Pero simple lang yung test. Does the law meaningfully prohibit dynasties? Yun ang dapat na tanong.
Yes.
Ito hindi. Does the law serves the purpose of giving equal access? Kung ganun karami, wala. Is the limitation rational? Or arbitrary? Yun doon sa bill arbitrary kasi nakalagay 4th degree of consanguinity and affinity. Doon sa bill ko, ito. Isang national, isang local.
Okay.
Pwede na. Wala nang iba. Isang
That's it.
national, isang local. So, 2 per family. Pagkatapos, 2nd degree of consanguinity. Ito yung pinaka-practical. Hindi arbitrary. Kasi, tatay, lolo, nanay, kapatid, apo, anak, hindi pwede. Pero yung mga first cousin, second cousin, allowed
Pwede
na yan.
na.
Kasi, hindi naman yan nasa household mo
Yes, oo.
Napakamahirap, arbitrary na yon kung idadamay mo yung wala naman sa household mo. At ang pinakamahirap doon, yung enforcement doon, napakahirap.
Yes.
Pero mo itatrack mo yung 4th degree kung yung COMELEC, magugulo noon.
Dito pa naman sa Pilipinas, Kong.
Magkakamag-anak na tumatakbo.
Dito sa Pilipinas,
Hindi
Kong,
ganun
pa
kadali
naman.
yun. So, this is the most practical. And at makakapasa ito doon sa test ng mga framers ng Constitution natin.
That's
Dapat
right.
tingnan muna yung intent ng mga framers ng Constitution.
Well, dito pa
Well,
naman sa Pilipinas,
that's what-
Kong, sinasabi lagi, uy, kamag-anak kita, kamag-anak.
Pero that's what I wanted to
Yes.
ask kung yung mga ibang constitutionalists, when we were asking them, parang ang feeling nila definition or pinaka-essence is to provide equal opportunity for people to go against each other
Yeah,
sa
oo.
political discourse. Ngayon, for them, parang hindi naman ganun kalala ang dalawang senador because legislative body daw. Para sa kanila, mas malala daw isang mayor at vice mayor in one city because parang you have a monopoly of the geographical location. Pero ang senador, meron 22 other senators or madami daw sila. Ano take nyo dito?
Well, kung dalawa, black pa rin yun.
Okay.
May magiging political black. Bibigyan ko na kayo ng example. Bibigyan ko ng example. Directly, billiards.
Okay.
They are very influential. Dahil, dalawa-dalawa lagi ang billiards sa Senado.
That's right.
And
That's right.
they were able to use their position dun sa kanilang mga negosyo.
When I was looking at the bill and I was reading it, meron din po akong isang nakikitang interesting, no, na pwede rin po natin mapag-usapan today. Nakalagay po kasi doon, it does not prohibit a dynast from immediately succeeding an incumbent relative in the next election. Doon po nangyayari yan, di ba, na kunyari, natapos na siya, tapos yung kasama niya, ay, magkakandidato ulit.
Kung hindi marami, kahit mag-succeed, okay lang yan. Kasi
That's fine with
yung
you.
sphere of influence, andun lang, isa lang.
Yes, that's right.
Isa lang yung sphere of influence. Yung succession, di mo naman mapipigilan yan. Sabi nga nila, yung kung halimbawa, doktor yung anak mo, kung doktor ka, alamang maging interesado yung anak mo na maging doktor. Pero wag naman na lahat ng anak mo magiging congressman, di ba? Nasabay-sabay. Ang para sa akin, yung pinaka-essence nung anti-political dynasty provision ng Article 2, Section 26 ng ating Constitution is to prohibit the monopoly of power at a certain point in time. So ito yung pinaka-epektibo. Ngayon, kung isa lang talaga, magiging arbitrary. Magiging arbitrary. Pero kung at least isa sa national, isa sa local, okay na yon.
Pero ibay natin senaryo kung ng konti. What if si Mayor, last term na niya, takbo siya ng Vice Mayor, tapos anak niya tatakbo ng Mayor? Yun ang bawal talaga. Pero you're saying, kung nag-ano siya, anak niya will run for the mayoral post, tapos si daddy hindi na muna tatakbo, yun ang okay lang.
Okay lang.
Okay.
Pero what do you have to say, Kong, dun sa sinasabi na you cannot compare, let's say for example, yung sinabi niyo po kanina, mga doktor. Kunyari, may anak akong doktor, gusto niya maging doktor, di ko naman siya mapigilan. As to the public service, because doktor naman, pinag-aaralan niya, nagkakaroon ng medical board, etc. And as compared to the politicians, sa binoboto ito and in the public service industry.
Kaya nga, depende din sa galing ng anak for example, congressman ka, tatakbo yung anak. Tapos ka na, tatakbo yung anak mo, wala ka namang ganong influence dahil ikaw lang mag-isa. Kailangan magaling din yung anak mo. Kung hindi, di siya mananalo. Pero ngayon, dahil controlled yung governor, yung mayor, controlled yung congressman, yung lahat ng pondo ng gobyerno, lahat ng machinery ng gobyerno magagamit. Kaya nananalo kahit mediocre yung anak mo.
Doon po sa proposed bill na ito nila House Speaker Bogie D. and Sandro Marcos, nakikita ko rin po na parang it really doesn't address also yung abuse ng party list system natin. Parang it still allows na kunyari ikaw ay from that political family ay pumasok doon ay inominate bilang kasama doon sa party list.
Kaya nga, hindi ma-address yun. Pero doon sa bill ko, dalawa lang talaga. Kung tatakbo ka na party list, wala nang ibang national positions ang pwedeng takbuhin, kundi local na lang.
Doon sa bill nyo, gano'n.
Yung congressmen, whether party list or district congressmen, are considered national officials.
So kung ang tanong,
they are part of the national legislature.
So ang tanong dito, yung bill nyo versus yung bill na linabas nila Kong Sandro ngayon, sa tingin nyo po, ano po ang possible na makita natin na may uusad ba kahit isang bill nito ng anti-dynasty bill next year?
Hindi, kaya ako naman sinabi kaagad. Actually, magkakaroon pa naman ng committee hearings, magkakaroon ng compromises. Pero ito alarm ako kasi may pronouncement si President Marcos na ipaprioritize yan. Pero kung ganitong klase ang ipaprioritize, because it was filed by the son of the President and the Speaker of the House, baka ito yung direction ng ating Pangulo. Budol to. Budol talaga to. Kaya nga, dapat siguro nakonsulta muna yung Pangulo. Kasi alam ni Presidente yung ibig sabihin ng anti-political dynasty. Kasi naalala ko, noong 2015, nakapagpasa kami, the first anti-political dynasty law na naipasa, yung sa SK Reform Law.
Yes, that's right.
So, sa SK Reform Law, isa lang. Yung SK, kung tumakbo ang SK chairman o kagawad, hindi na pwedeng tumakbo hindi pwedeng tumatakbo yung tatay mong kapitan, yung danay mong mayor, o yung kapatid mong senador. Hindi pwede yun. Isa lang talaga. So, I think the President understands what an anti-political dynasty is. So, bakit ito yung na-file?
Yun nga po, I was gonna ask you that. Why do you think na even the son of the President...
Or kung nakausap na ni Kong, sila Congressman Sandro or sila Presidente?
Yun ang hindi ko alam kung nag-usap sila kasi hindi papasa sa Constitution yan. Yung bill nila. It will be unconstitutional.
So what do you think is the reason behind this?
It's a travesty of the intent of the framers of the Constitution. Yung binigay na reason ng mga framers of the Constitution why they put that particular provision, hindi ma-address yung monopoly of power, yung equal access to public service.
Last na rin po kung kasi nagkaroon din po ng debate usapin tungkol dito doon sa naging direktiba ng Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa Congress. Number one, in reality, hindi naman po talaga pwede, or technically, hindi naman po talaga pwedeng magdirekta ang presidente sa Congress ng mga gusto niyang bill. But also, ang tanong dito ng tao, bakit daw po prioritize instead of certifying it as urgent?
Well, the president can always certify it at a certain point in time. Siguro tinitingnan niya muna kung ano yung sentiment ng mga legislators. Pero I'm sure kung kasi allies niya yung supermajority. So siya naman yung head ng coalition, being the president of the Philippines. Siguro kailangan talaga ma-influence niya yung House. Kaya nga na-alarm ako dahil ito yung pinahil ng ni Congressman Sandro at ni Speaker Bojetti dahil ang ibig sabihin, ito yung idea ng presidente. Kasi siya yung nag-prioritize. Pag yun yung idea ng presidente, unconstitutional yun. Kaya nga, ngayon pa lang, gusto kong linawin na ito. Dahil alam mo, itong anti-political dynasty advocacy ko precedes the 1987 Constitution. I've been fighting political dynasties in my city. For political dynasties na yung nilabanan ko, kaya buti nga buhay pa ako.
Well, having said that, do you believe the sincerity of the president on this matter?
I'm optimistic but cautious. Kasi sa totoo lang, yung kailangan talagang i-appease ni presidente yung mga galit na mamamayan dahil dito sa mga pinakamalaking anomalya sa kasaysayan ng ating bansa. Sinasabi nga, magpakulong. Pero para sa akin, ang pinakamagandang balik dito ay yung pangmatagalang solusyon ng problema. At ang aking paniniwala, ang isa sa pinakamalaking dahilan ng korupsyon, ng pag-aabuso sa gobyerno ay yung mga political dynasties.
With that, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Once again, Caloocan 2nd District Representative Egay Erice.
Salamat.
Don't go away because we're not done yet. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee has launched an inquiry into the alleged misuse of letters of authority by BIR officials. Here is the report.
At the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing, senators detailed alleged abuses and schemes carried out by certain personnel of the Bureau of Internal Revenue in issuing letters of authority or LOAs, used to harass or pressure business owners. One of the main issues raised was the issuance of multiple LOAs within a single taxable year. Some business owners reportedly received 4 in just 6 months. Once an LOA is issued, a business is required to undergo a tax audit, and this is where questionable tax assessments allegedly occur.
Ang report po sa atin ay nag-offer, halimbawa ang BIR examiner sa City of Manila, na isettle ang LOA sa halagang 400,000 all-in. Dahil hindi sila pumapayag sa hinihinging lagay, naglabas ang examiner ng assessment na umabot ng 13 milyon o 13 million pesos. Ang nakakapagtaka raw dito dahil ang gross sales lang ang nagnegosyo ay 12 million pesos.
There were also allegations of extortion through tax compromise, where examiners would persuade business owners to pay a lower amount than the legally required tax, but only a portion of this would actually go to government. Only 25% of the correct tax collection supposedly reaches the BIR, and the remaining 75%.
Where did the rest of the collection go from these instruments? Di po sa bulsa ng mga examiner, RDOs, at regional directors.
Former BIR Commissioner Kim Henares emphasized that LOA are essential to check whether taxes remitted match declared income.
That letter of authority push behavior of compliance. So yun yung hindi pwedeng mawala yung takot kasi marami hong hindi nagbabayad. No? Meron study na we have not collected more than 1 trillion pesos no, from tax evasion.
We from the BIR appear before you today with openness and humility to respond to and to clarify the issues that brought us here, and to listen, learn, and work with the Senate to strengthen our tax system.
Finance Secretary Frederick Go also vowed decisive action.
We welcome this investigation. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has made it unequivocally clear we will not tolerate corruption in government.
Team Philippines continues to rack up medals at the 2025 Southeast Asian Games. As of 11:30 p.m. yesterday, the Philippines sits at 5th place overall. Filipino athletes have secured 33 medals so far, including 5 gold, 7 silver, and 21 bronze. Jelly Bolaong's gold in MMA modern 60 kg is not included in the official tally as it is a demo sport.
In a season filled with rush and routine, one moto taxi rider reminds us that kindness, no matter how small, can still steal the spotlight. Let's get to know him in this report by Mobile Journal, Jas Paredes.
A moto taxi rider is earning praise online after one of his passengers shared their heartwarming encounter. Shortly after picking her up, the passenger was surprised when the rider pulled out a small container filled with raffle tickets. She ended up receiving free candy, a biscuit, and a sticker. Simple tokens that for her were enough to uplift an ordinary day. Many netizens commended the rider for his thoughtful gesture, touched by the small act of kindness. The rider is Christopher, a 35-year-old from Las Piñas who has been working as a moto taxi rider for 2 years.
Ilang days ko na rin pong ginagawa po, ma'am. Ngayon lang po na future sa TikTok. Ayun po. Nabasa ko yung mga comment doon, nakakaiyak talaga.
The idea began as an initiative from the app itself, which encouraged riders to give candy to passengers. But Christopher thought of taking it further by adding more prizes such as biscuits and even a personal sticker as his way of spreading joy and showing gratitude this Christmas season.
Question namin mga empty taxi rider, hirap na hirap talaga kami dahil sa kinikita namin sa mga gastusin sa mga motor, gastusin sa pang-araw-araw namin. Ganun talaga. Pero magbibigay pa rin ako saya pa rin sa mga passenger natin na sumasakay sa akin yan. So good vibes lang.
He admits that earnings for moto taxi riders have been challenging lately, especially given the long hours they spend on the road. Yet despite the financial strain, the gifts he gives come from his own pocket.
Sa mga nagtitip sa akin, ayun yung pinanggagastos ko po, yung binibigay sa kanila. Kami na rin po yung bumibili. Tulad ng ng head cap, kami po yung bumibili ng head cap para ipamahagi din sa mga passenger namin.
After his video went viral, many others stepped forward to share their own positive experience with Christopher. Netizens also quickly found his personal page, The Viewer's Motovlog, where he posts his daily rides and adventures.
Tagal na rin po, mga 5 years di lang nag-boom po eh. Pili ko ka talaga kasi magmotor po, ma'am eh. Parang puso ko talaga magmotor. Ayan. So, bawat biyahe, nakikita ko yung mga iba-ibang mga lugar. Kaya The Viewers Motovlog po eh.
For Christopher, being a rider serves 2 purposes, fulfilling his passion for riding and providing a source of income. As of now, riding is his sole livelihood. It's his way to support his family as the eldest among his siblings. Meanwhile, he thanks supporters and reminds fellow moto taxi riders.
So, sa mga nakakita sa mga aking video, yan. So maraming salamat po dahil na-appreciate niyo yung aking mga ginawa. Ayan. Ibang MC taxi rider, yan tulad ko bilang angkas, yan. Tuloy lang para sa pamilya natin, ayan. Na sinusuportahan natin, yan. So ingat palagi at ride safe na lang sa bawat daan.
Deputy Jas Paredes, VR1 News.
A female firefighter from Quezon City is breaking barriers, showing that women can thrive in a male-dominated profession. Mobile journalist Ray Vicente has the report.
From air to fire, this female firefighter from Quezon City proves that she has what it takes to switch craft and enter a male-dominated field.
Alam nila, tourism graduate ako, tourism management graduate. So, lagi nilang tanong, oh, bakit ka nagbombero? Nag-inspire po talaga sa akin na makapasok dito is my mother po. Kasi babae rin po siya and teacher. Pero pinili po niyang magbombero. Bakit hindi ko rin i-take yung unconventional path na yon?
Diane earned praise online from her contents on women breaking barriers but admits that her life-threatening job is not easy for women.
Mayroon akong bit-bit na SCBA or self-contained breathing apparatus. Yun. Pagkare-responde yun. No? So siguro yung parang senior namin or yung commander doon sa area, nakikita niya na mas lamang ang physical strength pa rin ng lalaki kaysa sa babae. So, pinabigay niya muna yung SCBA ko dun sa lalaki. Ngayon na mas tumatagal na rin po sa serbisyo, nakikita na yung pantay na pagtingin ng babae at lalaki. No?
Diane recalled the time when she almost fainted during a Task Force Alpha fire incident. Luckily, a body system is required when entering the area engulfed in flames.
Nung bago po ako, hindi pa po ako sanay makasinghot ng usok, kumbaga. So, may mga pagkakataon po na kapag papasok na po kami, iba po kasi yung init talagang tatagos po siya. Ramdam mo kahit naka-complete PPE ka. So, may pagkakataon po na mahihilo ka talaga.
Yet service to the people still what matters the most for the 6-year-long female firefighter.
Hindi ako magpapakahon, kumbaga, dito lang sa stereotype na kapag babae lang ako or kapag tourism graduate ako, dapat ito yung path na i-take ko. Basta po meron tayong kailangan na saklolohan kasi mas importante po sa amin ang buhay at ang ari-arian po na mailigtas. Kasama po yan sa aming tungkulin.
Kapatid Ray Vicente, we are One News.
Alright.
Well, thank you, by the way, Buddha's Belly, for these yummy treats
Always
week in and
a
week out every Friday. And in the spirit of Christmas, I'd like to leave everyone with a quote. An ounce of prayer is stronger than a cup of coffee. And that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Join us again on Monday. I'm Angela Castro.
And I'm Angelo Castro III. Kapatid, we are One News.
All sides, all the time.